Hey, everybody. Welcome to Story Time with Max and John. I'm John.
And I'm Max. We have a really cool episode today for you guys with Paul Besch. He's a retired touring musician, a father, and a current owner of a really sick studio called Quiet Country Audio. He has a lot of cool bands come through there, and they record music, and they also record video.
It's live recordings of video footage and music, and you can find all that stuff on YouTube. It's pretty cool, actually. My band back in the day did it, the traditional, which is...
It's pointing at the traditional stuff.
There's only one.
Okie dokie.
Actually, I had a lot of fun with this one. This was a lot of fun. I always have fun, but this one, he's just got so many stories.
He's got a lot. Well, because he was a touring musician for like 20 years, 15 years, something like that.
He started real young.
Yeah, he was like 11.
Yeah. No, he was not touring when he was 11.
No, but he was
Yeah. He started touring when he was young, and he did it for a while. And he had some really cool tours, actually. A lot of stories, a lot of stuff I didn't know about him. So that it's a really interesting, fun, funny, crazy episode.
Yeah.
Actually, he came in with a list and then didn't even
use
look
at the list.
Yeah.
Nope.
We started talking, and all these other stories just popped in his head, so we just kind of went with it,
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a good little chit chat. A lot of tour stuff. A lot of fun. Like, I think it's a lot of cool tour stuff that you don't think about on if a regular person wouldn't think about.
Right. Yeah.
A civilian.
He actually was talking a little bit too about. He had a big part in the documentary for Mohawk Place before it reopened. I thought that was that was pretty interesting. I saw that video. It was really good. But yeah, he's a super smart dude, very funny, charismatic, and
yeah, that is a good. I think I haven't seen that Mohawk thing all the way through, but I've seen parts of it, and it's kind of cool to see. It's like, oh, this was the person who did that. Like you kind of put the face to the project situation.
And it's crazy too. There's a lot of people I know in that, but then he's right. Like Paul mentioned, one of the things about him doing that documentary was, the last 15 years, me and him have taken a part of that as far as playing and going to shows and all this other stuff. And then he was like, but there was, there's 20 years, 30 years before we even got involved.
Because I think Mohawk was like 1990 to 2012, the original.
Yeah, I think so.
That's crazy.
So it's It puts things in perspective. So
a lot of history in those walls.
Oh yeah, on those walls. Look at the stickers. What'd you do today?
What I do today?
Yeah,
I worked a little bit. I went on a walk because I was gonna go to the gym, but then I didn't have time to go to the gym.
They didn't have the pizza.
They didn't have the pizza, so I just did a brisk
no point.
Little neighborhood walk. I don't like walking in the neighborhood. I feel like people are looking at me. Through like it's I don't know. Do you go on walks? Are you a walker? You go on walks with the dog.
Every night we take the dog for a walk after it cools down.
I guess it's like that makes more sense than just somebody going on a walk who isn't like 60, like just doing a neighborhood walk. Like I think people just look at me and they're like, he's up to something.
Well, they're like, there's a giant walking down the street right now.
Yeah, and I'm wearing like my old like camp shirt, so it's just red. So I'm just a beacon.
In short shorts.
Yeah. I was like, well, okay, this guy, what's he doing? I decided today I was going to start, because I never really learned how to run because I was never athletic. No. Like I know how to run, but like I don't know how to run properly. So like you don't hurt your legs or stuff like that, if that makes any sense.
I guess.
Like I know how to run in the sense like I understand the concept of running, but I don't know
one leg after the other.
Just quickly. But like I don't know how to run for like exercise. Like endurance or like just in general. So I decided today was going to be that day. So I walked to the park near my house and I ran for 3 minutes. I was like halfway through the park and I was just like, oh, I'm not breathing. I could hear myself wheezing over the music I was listening to, and then I was just like walking semi-defeatedly back through the park to like where I started.
Yeah.
I wasn't sweating before, just profusely wet.
You're like, I can feel my heartbeat in my earlobes.
Oh my, dude. There was a moment I was like, I'm going to pass out. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to pass out.
I'm going to have a heart attack.
I'm going to die. Oh boy, here it goes. That's why I don't want the Apple Watch. I don't want to be like, whoa. But yeah, turns out I'm not built for that.
You're quite literally built for the opposite. You're supposed to sit and lay down.
Yeah, not a runner. Not a runner. And also Vans. I don't know if you knew this, but Vans are terrible running shoes.
I think I read about that in a book.
It's called Don't Use Vans for Running.
That's exactly what it's about.
It was awful. I don't recommend it. 3 minutes. I was like, yeah, I'm going to run for like 10 minutes. It'll be sick. And then 3 minutes, I was like,
Dude, I used to run all the time, and then I grew up, and now I just will never run again.
I think like if you don't stay with if I ran as a child, it would have been one thing. Like if I consistently ran, but it's like I've just never done it. Like I walk fast. Like that's my running.
Never found the need for it.
I didn't know. I was like, why do I need to get there quickly? Like I'm okay.
I have a bike for that. I have rollerblades for that. I have a scooter for that.
I have a thing that goes beep beep, and then I get into it and I drive. No, there's no point in running. I don't recommend it. If you run, don't.
You heard it here first. Don't. Enjoy the show.
Don't run. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
We were pissing neon green every day.
That big ball of heat in the sky was too much. I thought there was a bear.
Reality goes, yeah, fresco. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome
Welcome to
Story Time.
Story Time.
Story time. This has been a learning experience for sure.
I know.
We're
I know
finally
it well,
in
bro.
like the pocket though.
Yeah, 100%.
So-
That was like QCA stuff, dude. It was like, I did it with DeLuca. It took, 4 or 5 years and 40 sessions to the point where like, band walks in, we all say what's up. I turn my back, I set up Pro Tools, I turn around, DeLuca goes, cameras are set up.
Good to go.
But that's why when he moved and he left, it was like, do I want to? It took 4 years to foster that groove, and it's like, do I want to start from zero? I'm happy I did. I love
Brett
Brett.
was doing it though, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's just me. It's like he's all about it. It's just me. I'm just busy as fuck.
Yeah. Well,
But-
you're a dad.
Dad, 2 jobs.
Dude, you're
Fucking
dadding
blows.
so hard. 2 jobs. One of them's the studio though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been pretty busy with that?
Less busy since my new job, but still busy. Like,
Yeah.
It was kind of like I actually had 3 songs come out today that I did, which is dope.
Oh, okay. With who?
We Were Blank, kind of like a modern baseball Blink-182 type band. They're f***ing awesome.
Okay.
Love them. Gato Black,
Oh, I love God Black, dude. I didn't realize he did his record with you.
so dope.
Dude, he sent me the whole thing. When
It's
he
so
posted that first one, I was like, how do I hear the rest of this?
Right.
And he was like, here. And I was like, this is fucking dope, dude.
Yeah,
This
and
is so sick.
he's like pure New Jersey post-hardcore.
Yeah, and you can
Like,
tell,
it's a
but it's
time-
awesome.
No, it is. It's like it's not predictable. That's not the right word, but it's like 2 notes in, I know what's going to happen, and I f***ing love it.
Yeah.
And then the new Hotel Etiquette, the last of we did 3 songs, and they
Nice.
kind of like spaced them out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't heard those yet, but
They're good. It's totally that was one where he came to me and was like, let's get weird. How weird can we get? And it's like, well, what are you thinking? He's like, no guitar, or like no heavy guitar, no. So the whole point of this whole EP was like, a lot of Mike's stuff is like boo boo gabba boo boo gabba
Yeah.
boo, and heavy guitars.
Yeah.
So it's like the songs cannot have that, no matter what.
he was putting himself
Can't have that.
taking himself out of his comfort zone.
100 as much as
Yeah.
possible. So
That's
there's
awesome.
like, I made him play keys. We used, cushions for percussion, tons of finger snaps. He put the noise when you get a text in the one song in between verse and chorus. So
Yeah.
he just crushed it. I was like, dude, this
Yeah,
is like
I
it was
love that.
it was a true like outward growth and expression of art, which is like,
Yeah.
a lot of bands play it safe.
It's
so
cool.
I was proud of him for that.
It's
it sounds
cool
really
to
good.
see. It is really cool to see it, like where he's come.
Dude,
from,
it's awesome.
too. Because like Penamento was its own thing. This is so different. Like musically, it's not super different because
see
it's
the
still him
connection.
writing.
Yeah,
it's
right.
still him writing, and that's what he was doing for Penamento. He wrote all that shit.
Right.
So like, you get that still that same vibe, but you could just see how much he's matured, and then even like him trying to stand out of the box of like what he's used to.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. These 3 songs, like he just dropped the last one today, is like it's a mile outside the box. It's like,
That's
how
awesome.
far can I go, and how far? Like, I finished it and I sent it to a couple people, and I'm like, what genre is this? Like, what is this? And everybody was like, I don't know. And like the joy of like sending like those texts, he's just like, yeah, bro. Like, it's how hard is that? How hard is that to like make music that people are like,
Yeah.
what?
That's tough.
And like good, bad, or ugly, whatever it is, at least it's different. At least
Right.
it's like you're pushing some sort of envelope. So
And then he leaves next week to record with the dude from Crime and Stereo, right?
yeah, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be. I haven't heard all of it, but I think it's gonna be more in tune to like what he just dropped, where it's like, let's keep getting, less predictable. Let's keep getting.
Love that.
So so I don't really know much about you, to be perfectly honest. I know that.
Well,
I
gather
knew-
round.
I know that you do
Gather
Quiet
round.
Country, and I know that stuff. But you work at you have a studio.
Yes, yeah. So I started a studio in 2010.
Yeah.
As like to counteract having children and wanting to itch the scratch of music,
sure,
but not
sure.
being able to like. I couldn't tour anymore. I shouldn't say couldn't. Didn't want to tour anymore.
Who does?
Didn't want to do the band anymore. It was just I was in bands. My first band, I put out my first record when I was 11.
And you're what, 15 now?
I went fucking what? 35. So yeah, it's been any memory of my life involves me. My first full length I put out when I was 12.
Wow.
So, yeah, just always in bands up until like 22, 23 is when I've kind of transitioned to the studio, got a degree in recording and engineering, and then like put all my focus into that.
So this might be a dumb question, and we can address that. It's a dumb question, but like, because I don't really have any experience with music and that. But is going to, because you said like Mike is going to record with a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like the same? Does it feel weird that they're not going to record with you again? Because like it's like when I go to a different barber, it feels weird that I'm going to.
Yeah, well,
it feels
dude,
odd. Is that a thing that happens in the music world, or is that just kind of commonplace because everyone's a bit different?
I think it happens with people like me. Like I'm an engineer,
Sure.
and I think it happens more with me. I like to foster an environment where like I try to insert myself as the extra member of the group, and like I always try to do something different because everybody and every project's different, but I don't. Dude, whatever's best for you. It's all
Sure.
straight up love from like the way that I approach it.
Yeah.
Some people are very like possessive. Like, how dare you? How could you?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, me and him just recorded everything he's ever released except for like this one record, and good. Like, dude, I'm stoked.
Right.
I'm legitimately stoked. Like, I know what I can do with him, and I know
Yeah.
what we do together. What do you do with somebody?
Right,
It's like,
you did
that's
this
fucking
part
cool.
with them, and it's like, all right, now let's see.
Keep going, dude.
Because I'm a stand-up comedian, I do that stuff, but it's like the different clubs that I go to or the different things that I do doesn't have the same feeling. Because like a comedy club to a comedy club to a comedy club is all going to be about the same.
Sure.
Whereas I think when you're recording,
Super intimate, man. It's 10-hour
different,
days, 11-hour
yeah.
days. It's just a little room. You guys are like,
Yeah.
And then when you get into mixing, it's like the constant communication of like bass drum up, kick drum, whatever.
And,
Like,
it's infuriating because a lot of times you have honestly no idea. Like for me specifically, I'll be like, whatever you think sounds good because my ears are shot.
Yeah.
I got nothing left. Like
Well,
it's
and
been
that's-
a very long time, and my ears are done. I have tinnitus too, so
Yeah.
it's like, oh, what? So how do you think the drums sound? Great over the ringing because that's all I hear right now. So, but
and there's like benefits and cons to it all. There's artists who I work with where like, shout out Johnny and the Man Kids. John Marciniak is the singer and songwriter of that band, and the
Yeah.
people that are in that band understand that it's his vision, that he wrote the songs, and when John goes like, "That's not right," there's no like egos, and there's no. It's like okay,
It's just that, yeah.
And but sometimes there is. Sometimes
Sure.
it's like my fucking solo I wrote is the dopest solo, and it is going on there. It's like are you? There's like there can be conflict and everything,
Sure.
but it's cool. I like the artistic license of what you said, where it's like, do your thing.
well,
And
yeah.
then I just like again insert myself as an extra member and just kind of go like, if this was my band, how would I want it to sound? And sometimes I fucking miss, and sometimes I kill it, and you know,
happens.
and yeah. But I again like the way, and like you've worked with me before, but the way that I handle it, and you've worked with a lot of studios, but yeah, my approach to it, I didn't like the possessive shit that I'd ever dealt with, and like like I recorded with people my whole life, and then when it came my turn to like drive the
Yeah.
ship, it was like.
Yeah.
I never forgot all the things I hated, made a promise to never do those, and just tried to foster like just a super creative and like comfortable, like I never, like you said when your friend wasn't happy with
Yeah.
that, like I'll it's not like a money thing. I'll go far beyond whatever the budget is just to make sure that I don't ever want to hear that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want people to feel that way.
Yeah, that's and I have recorded with people as favors, and that has like they envision it in their mind of how they want to do it.
Yeah.
And how it's like they would like it to come out, and some of those records never got released.
Right.
So, and I have some of that stuff, and I'm like, it sounds good, and it's like, well, it's just not where I wanted it to go. It's not. It didn't come out the way I expected it to, or I envisioned it. So, because when you're in a band and you're like writing, not everybody pre-pros, but a lot of the older adult musicians do. So they'll record it like my rig. You know, we'll record everything and we'll listen to it 1,000 times and be like, change this part here, or this is perfect, but it's missing something, or this, that, and the other, whatever.
Well, it's the same. Like I'll record the jokes that I'm doing at mics and like at shows and stuff before I recorded to put it out, because it's just like it. You know, you hear it and you're like, oh wait, let me just tweak that. Let me tweak that.
Exactly.
It's the game footage, bro. You got to do it.
Exactly. But it's that same mindset of like, you work it, and then by the time you get to Paul or Jay or anybody else that you're recording with, you're in that. This is what we're doing. We're ready to go because we've workshopped everything.
Yeah.
But you also have to have that constructive criticism because they're hearing the raw recording coming through the speakers as it's being done, and they can tell like this just isn't working. Can we try something different?
Yeah.
And then they become that kind of producer, you know, at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like that. I went to school for engineering.
you? I don't know that.
And I made it through one semester. Dude, I just couldn't do it.
I love it. I mean, it didn't really, you know, my intention was to like itch the scratch of playing in bands. It doesn't do that. Like I still want to play music and I have plans to do some shit hopefully, but it's a whole, it just like, it birthed this whole other beast that I love, but it's just a whole different part of my brain. And
you're just lucky that like you can kind of make a little bit of money while you're doing it too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, for sure. Like it's just like I said, it's because it hasn't been, and I often wonder that like it's never been my full career, and as cool as that would be in my head, I almost wonder too sometimes like if this is all I did, would I get jaded and shit? You know, like I love it because it's like a break from the daily shit.
Yeah, like the other job.
Yeah, and I love my other job. So it's all good. All right.
Yeah, I could see that.
Have there ever been any times where like you're going in to record with somebody and they have an idea in their head and then it's completely different by the end of it? Just from like in the recording, you're like, wait, let's just. And it's just like the original vision is not actually what came out, but they're still stoked on it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like it depends if they want to be produced or not. So it's all an ego game, man. It all just comes down to like if you come in thinking like this song's done, it's a fucking hit, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And maybe, probably not. You know, like the reason you came to me is because of shit you heard I did that you liked.
Yeah.
So if you come in here and you try to just force down my throat what you like, and that's it, I'll give it to you. But like, you're probably gonna leave not stoked because I didn't put my touch. Like I didn't do my thing.
Right.
You know?
You came here and you recorded something, and now it's done.
And like if that's what you want, great. But like you know, a lot of again with like the vision thing, it's easier said than done, man. It's. And I've learned that over the years and like watching people because I've definitely gotten like my wheels stuck in the mud with bands before where it's like early on it would be like I know and I'd say it out loud. I'm super honest. It's like, dude, I know this isn't right. I also don't know like what it needs. I can't put my finger on it, but I know that like this isn't it. And that's where I'll kind of like turn the clock off like money wise and be like, so what do we like I've said to bands like I don't want like why even record this, you know, with me? Maybe I'm like the wrong guy. Like, you know, just self-identifying that stuff. Because like, dude, again, starting off a lifetime of playing in bands, I know how hard every single dollar was to earn.
Oh yeah,
through shows and shit. So the last fucking thing I'm gonna do as I get older is be like, give me.
But it's also it's
like I know that shit was impossible for you to muster up the money to come to me.
Yeah,
and I have the utmost respect for everybody that walks through the door, and like that does not. I never forget that.
But also to have that mentality and to just be like, hey, you came to me. We're trying.
Yeah.
It's just not working. And for you to be able to be like, hey, it's no harm done. Like, if you want to go somewhere else or like, we want to just stop now, we can just stop now. That's it. Like, let bygones be bygones. Well, we can try again next time kind of thing, you know? But
and I never burn any bridges. Like, dude,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Because that, again, it falls back to like, I recorded with a bunch of people when I was younger and I never let go of the things that I hated.
Right.
And that was like one of the things, like when you're trapped and you're in there It is a trap feeling where you're like, dude, we spend all of our money, spend all of our time. We can't go anywhere else because we have no money to go anywhere
Right.
else. But fuck this, dude. It sucks. But what do you do? You know, so it's like, what can I do to alleviate that while still keeping the lights on? I mean, dude,
Right, yeah.
the shit's not free. You know,
It's
I
also-
had to earn it myself. So like, I don't just give stuff away, but at the same time, I'm not here to like rob anybody. So it's just a constant psychological balance of like, is this working or not? You know, and reading the room and
Well, and hopefully,
reading
like the
people.
band too is also like aware. You know, they're just like, you know what, this isn't
Sometimes.
actually. Yeah, obviously, there's probably moments where it's just like.
Sometimes people
Fuck
are
this
fucking
dude,
like,
yeah.
yes. And I'm like, yeah, turn around like, oh my God. Ooh.
Okie dokie.
All right, bro. Like, and you know, so luckily I don't have to do that as much anymore, but there was definitely like keep the lights on projects where it's like, I'm recording shit and it's like, nobody wants to listen
It's
to
the
this.
grind. It's the grind.
Nobody wants to hear
I've
this.
done shows to rooms of 2 people,
Yep.
and they don't laugh.
So have I.
So have I. Yeah. So have I.
I've done shows to nobody in Scranton, California.
Yeah,
Damn, yep. Been there, bro.
that's wild.
So, you got any stories for us? Some road stories?
some
anything.
road stories.
Honestly, it doesn't need to just be
Like-
road stories. It can be anything that you think is interesting, funny, shitty.
Well, I was just
Crazy.
I was talking the other day about like somebody was asking me that I work with about touring and stuff because they're not musicians.
Yeah.
And like one of the funny things I was thinking about was like, dude, so I'm fucking older than a lot of people that I'm like, that's the weird thing. Like when I did the studio, right? Like when I was in, I mean, I think you would remember like Believe in You and like all that shit.
Right.
Like, dude, we'd sell out Icon and we would sell out Showplace and we'd be like, not just us, but like the scene, right?
Yeah.
We're the fucking top of the world.
The scene was strong back then.
2 years later, like year and a half, I'm like recording bands, and it's like, you never played music, bitch. It's like, dude, a week ago I was in a band. What do you mean? No, like, so coming to grips with that. But it was just funny. Back when I used to tour, dude, it was like I started touring in 2002, 2003, like the day I got my license. We played in Michigan, just like booked a show, go, and dude, everything was atlases, bro. No smartphones,
Right.
no computers. Like we had cell phones, but they didn't do shit. And like, I don't know how we ever played a show. I don't know how we got to one. We did the whole U.S. with a piece of paper of the
wild.
United States. Just
Yeah.
being like, dude, I remember it would be like, we'd wake up and be like, where are we going? And we'd be in Arizona, like going to Texas. Be like, all right, that way?
Which way's Texas?
Just east, just straight up. And we just go. And then once we got within vicinity, we'd just be like, okay, a Zoomies. Yeah, okay, a mall. Let's go
Yeah.
to the Hot Topic and just literally go like, do you know where this place is?
Yeah.
We're supposed to play there.
Right.
That was our Google Maps.
Right.
That's
Just
wild.
Human interaction and just like, yeah, using an atlas. And I don't know, like, but it wasn't stressful because there was no GPS. It didn't fucking exist.
Right.
So there was no like, man, we need to get one of those.
Right. It was just like, all right.
Like, you on a tour, right? Yeah, like, get the atlas out, bro, and figure it out.
There was
Here's the
nothing
compass.
worse than when we would tour and I had, one of like the early GPSs, so they were the big blocky ones, and like we'd be getting ready. Dude, the full US we did. We used my parents. It wasn't even mine. I didn't even own one. It was my parents, and I was like, all right, we need to prepare for this. Like, I don't know if it has everything in it. And so I had to like go online, download the updated thing, plug it in, do
Right.
the whole thing, and then
Pray the street that you were going down.
yeah,
was
and then
on
you're
it.
like, and then it's like, all right, you're gonna go through Canada back to New York, and you're like,
Does this
oh,
work?
this doesn't have Canada in it.
Yeah.
So then you're like, everybody whip out your phones, screenshots, all that shit.
Yeah.
So I could never imagine having to use an atlas, dude.
Atlases, dude. And then at the end of my time, which was like 2007-ish, 2008, Panera Bread had Wi-Fi.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, yeah.
So then we go in and we'd be like, all right, dog, and fire up MapQuest and print out from Panera Bread to the venue. Which, like, again, if you miss a street, it'd be like,
Right.
all right, where are we now? Like, I don't know. Did you
You
turn
guys
left?
walk in with your printer.
Because it's like, go 3 miles down Johnson Street. It'd be like, has it been 3 miles? Be like, I don't know. It's been like 45 minutes. Be like, all right, maybe. Yeah, probably. All right, we probably missed it. Where are we now?
Right.
I
You're
don't
just
know.
checking the odometer for the miles.
Dude, that
on
was like
it.
that with like the dude in the front seat. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a trip, man, back then, man. And there was just like nothing to do. You just like look out the fucking window.
Right.
Like I can't imagine. It's crazy with like analytics, with like Bandcamp and being like, dude, we would just call. So when I was in high school, my senior year, I was in this web class that was like the first year of it, and the teacher was this chick, Miss Giambra. And she comes in, she's like, hey, and like getting to know her or whatever. She's like, yeah, so I worked for Metal Blade Records for 12 years. And I used to tour with Cannibal Corpse. I was like, oh, no fucking way. So then I started, we became close, and I was like, yeah, my band and stuff. So she's like, all right, fuck the web stuff. Like, I'm going to throw it out the window. She's like, if you want me to give you a passing grade, I need you to book a 2-week tour. You have the rest of the semester, like the last part of the year to do it. And then right as high school ends, you got to go out for 2 weeks, and you're going to book it like during my class while all the other kids are working on like web shit.
That's kind of sick.
Which is cool, cool as hell.
You're like, yep, okay.
Something you were actually like really wanted to do.
She was like, yeah, she was the best. She would try to help us with like press and like whatever she could. And but it was just the phone book. And like I would look at Cleveland and just call a bar and be like, do you have bands play at, and it's some asshole like drying a glass. Like, yeah, sure. And be like, how about Wednesday? Be like, yeah, okay. So like, dude, back then there's no fucking internet. So you just show up and be like, oh my God, I hope it exists. I hope it exists. I hope you, like the amount, like with the one Sleepaway tour, we showed up and they wrote Fleep Away with an F. It's like
Sleepaway. I love that.
It's like, you don't even fucking.
Also, shout out Sleepaway, dude.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, that show we saw the sign. Everybody was like, fuck this? Yeah, fuck this. Yeah, we're out of here. And these chicks were walking in, we're like, hey, were you going to come to the show? And they were like, yeah, there's some bands playing. We're like, yeah, we're not playing. Where you live? Can we just party at your house? Yeah, sure. And we just went back to their house and partied until her dad came home. And her dad got pissed off and kicked us out.
Fair enough.
That was in Detroit.
Shout out Detroit.
Dude. There's a tour. There's a story. Like I'll just riff, I guess.
Go ahead.
So there's
Whatever
a story.
Do,
so
man.
We're at this party, and it's a party, and you're 19, so it's just crazy. And then the dad comes home, like wife beater, pickup truck, fucking. What the fucking did you? Like all right, we're gone, man. We're gone.
We don't belong here.
So we had we had I think a 6-pack of like Smirnoff or something because we're idiots. And it was in glass bottles. And we were going from Detroit. We were like, oh, let's cut through Canada because it shaves off an hour to get back to Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So we're driving, and our trailer. So we had an old van, and the hitch was all rusty. And like a normal hitch, this hitch came straight out. Normally a hitch comes out and like dips down. Yeah. So it was like our van was like this, and our trailer was like this the whole time we were driving. Oh. So the weight was all fucked up, and the leaf springs that like held up the wheels broke like 4 days before, and we were like, why did that happen? On one side though, so we get it fixed, and then we're like, all right, let's go home. And we're driving, and the singer's driving like the singer is driving like an asshole, and we're all yelling at him to like slow down because there's all these potholes, and he's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Bam! Other side blows out right in front of the police station. Oh, Pull into the police station. We go in and tell them, we're like, dude, we're not from here. The whole thing. Like, we got to go back to Buffalo. And it was a Friday. And she's like, okay, you can leave it here for the weekend. But on Monday, like, I'm going to get it towed. And I was like, okay. So I'd go home, wake my stepdad up. When we got home, he got in his truck, drove back to Detroit with me, fixed it in the parking lot, and then drove us. Just a nightmare. But anyways, so we drop off the trailer. We fill our van with all of the shit that we care about, or like we can.
Right.
And Sleepaway took some stuff, and they were like, all right, see you later. They take off, and we go up to the border. So we see the border, and it's like kind of an L shape, and we're on this little bridge, and we see it. And like when we pull up, I'm driving, and my friend Mark was next to me, and he had a laptop out, and I heard like the bottles clink from the Smirnoff. We were all 19. Yeah. He's just kids. And I was like, oh, we're all gonna get fucked. We're gonna go to jail.
You're gonna get arrested.
We're gonna get arrested. Like they're not even
jail for Smirnoff.
So they're not even open. It's a fresh 6-pack, and I'm like, all right. I was like, okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump out. We're gonna leave them on this bridge, and then we're gonna go up to the border.
Yeah, because they don't have cameras.
No, 100%, not easily.
And also, people just jumping out of their car and leaving a box isn't suspicious at all.
And also, so it's me, the drummer. He's on a laptop, and then all the merch, all the guitars, all the amps, all the way to the very back bench, of which there was a 15-passenger Ford. So it's like a mile back there. And then it's my singer who's drunk and the other singer who's drunk. And they're just being like fucking idiots. So we drop off the Smirnoff, get back in. I start driving. Dude, we roll up immediately. 10 dudes, flashlights, screaming, park the fucking van.
Yeah, because they think you left a bomb on the side of the road.
Still didn't click at that point. It was still like, So I stop, and the one singer who's in the back, he's like, fuck this guy, just keep going. I was like, dude, it's the border. Where am I gonna go, dude? He's like, fuck the police. I was like, dude, please do not. Like, please do not do this right now.
They're the Mounties up here,
Yeah,
man.
like, dude, like the trailer just broke. It's the end
Right,
of this
yeah.
tour. Like, we're on our way home, bro. Please. So they come up and they start screaming at him like, "Get off your fucking laptop! What is that for? What are you programming over there?" And it doesn't. There's no Wi-Fi. It doesn't even exist. Like, dude, like he's got like Microsoft Paint open. He's like scribbling pictures. So he like puts it
like
away.
a dick.
Yeah, like it's so stupid. But we're freaking out. You know, my heart's like pumping. I'm like, I'm sorry. And he's like, is there anybody else in here? I was like, you're like, yeah, they're in the back and there's all this shit. He's like, all right, show me what's up. Go to the side, open up the like back hatch, and it's just a bench with like two idiot drunk heads sitting there, like, hey, what's up, man? And the guy was like, fuck the police, just fucking mean mugging him. Just staring him down. I was like, dude, please do not, please. And then they're like, what is this? Like, what is all this shit? Get it out. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, son of a bitch. So we open it up and we start taking out like our suitcases and the merch. They get bored. They're just like, all right, this is stupid. They're not doing anything. And finally he's like, what'd you leave on the fucking bridge? And I was like, oh, is that what this is all about? I'm like, oh, dude, it's some Smirnoffs because we're underage and I didn't want to have them. He's like,
Right.
we wouldn't. He's like, do you know how much more trouble you caused because
Yeah.
you did that? Like, we would have never known.
Jesus.
And I was like, all right. He's like, load it back up. Go back home. I was like, all right.
Oh my God. Oh, for some
yeah.
fucking ices.
But we didn't even drink. Like, we went to this party. The dad showed up. We left, and they were just clinking in the back.
How
Dude,
funny
dude,
would
dude.
it have been if they went over to pick up the box and they like pulled one out and they're like, "You gotta chug it, get on a knee!" Like,
Dude.
I also like that you went. Wait, so this was all from that venue that said Fleep Away?
Yeah.
Right. So you went to the venue. It said Fleep Away. You said fuck that. Went to this girl's house, and on the way decided to buy a 6-pack of Smirnoff Ice.
because
you were
like,
party, bro.
you were like, "Can we party at your place?
Smirnoff.
We'll bring the Smirnoff."
Hey, bro.
No Natty
bro.
Daddies. No PBR. No
2005.
No
dude.
Bud Heavies.
2005. bro.
Smirnoff Ice.
Things
Also
were different.
underage, as much sugar as possible in that malt
course.
liquor.
The dad
course.
probably came home and was like, "Oh, there's a cool party. Who brought the fucking
That's
get
how
out?
he was pissed. That's why he was like, get out. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. Oh, my God.
So it's pretty funny. A guy that I worked with at a company that I used to work at
Was obsessed with ice.
and electrical, and in the electrical union. He lives in Canada, but he works here. Well, not anymore. The one time he got a DUI because he was coming back to America and he was drunk and pulled over at the border and was like, "My car's really messy. I don't want them to like." I don't know. If they're going to search it, I'd like it to be clean. So he gets out of his car and he's just cleaning his car, turns around, and there are 6 dudes with their guns
Dude, the
drawn.
border's weird,
What are
bro.
you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
don't.
he got a DUI. They were like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just cleaning my car. It was a little messy." And they're like, "At the border? What are you thinking?" And he's like, "Well, blah, blah." And they're like, "Have you been drinking?" He's like, "I had a few." And they're like, "Okay, this explains a lot. You're under arrest." Like, then
Yeah.
he had to quit his job or whatever. But yeah, that's insane.
Borders are a trip.
That's you
Always.
don't mess around.
Yeah,
That's the one
no,
place
dude.
you don't mess
Especially after like all the shit that's happened over
Anything.
the years.
Anything.
Another crazy border story now we're talking about. So we were in LA and we were going to play in Tijuana.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible border.
Oh, dude.
That's a terrible
Dude.
crossing. I've heard so many horror
Oh,
stories from
yo.
just that specific
Yes,
crossing.
100%. So we were with this band, Sinking Ships, and this band, Hour of the Wolf. Shout out, both dope bands. And we had a translator, like liaison dude. He was a school teacher in Mexico, and he booked he tried to be a promoter.
Yeah.
So he came over first, met up with us, and was like, "So I got all the shit you guys need. I'll handle the border people.
Sure.
We'll do it for you." Like, okay, cool. So the drummer and the bass player, the one band, are like, "We're walking over because we want to go see what's up in Mexico. We're fucking living it up." Like, okay. So they walk over. We take 2 vans over. And like my grandma, at this point, my grandma called me like 3-4 days before and was like, "I know you're going there, and they're cutting cops' heads off." And it was like real bad then.
Yeah, the cartel was getting crazy.
Yeah, it was like half
Yeah.
the police force was cartel and half
Right.
wasn't. Like, it was just fucking dark. So the ride there was so like, all right, like everybody cool. Like a pack. We're making packs of like, we're not going to drink. We're not going to eat. We're going to get in. We're going to get out. We're not going to do anything crazy. We're just going to fucking do our thing. We're going to leave. We want to survive this, right? Like,
Yeah.
So get to the border. The van ahead of us and then us. They go up. They tell them to stop. They hit the gas, go up like 10 feet. They go up, scream in their fucking face, pull open this wooden door, and go like, get the fuck out. Like,
Yeah.
we made it 10 feet, and they're like, nope, not even gonna deal with your ass. So the school teacher dude was like, all right, there's another border, like 10, 15 minutes that way. It's way less busy. We'll just go to that. It'll be fine. Like, okay. So you go to that one, and we pull in, and of course they're like, all right, we're gonna search you, motherfuckers. Go in the back. So we go in the back, and all we heard was like, dude, it's like, it's fucked up, dude. Like, they'll handcuff you, take your wallet, take all your cash, take the cuffs off, and be like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, that legit is a concept.
because they're all.
It's just a
yeah.
so like we really were on alert of like, okay, let's try to be cool. But when they see all this shit we have, like, not good. So we pull in, and we're parked, and it's like sunset, it's like dusk, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to be here when it's dark. Like, this is getting fucking sketchy. So they look in our vans, and they're like, all right, open them up. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So they start looking. This guy pulls in next to us that they pull over. Dude, swear to God. They're like, all right, pop your trunk, bro. Pops his trunk, and I'm standing like 10 feet away. All hams. Wrapped hams.
Like meat.
They pile on this guy. Like, on the ground. On the fucking ground. So I was like, get out of here. Get out of here.
You're just
like,
sitting there like, oh.
yeah, I'm like, all right, dope. Thanks, bro. We leave.
Shout out to the ham man.
Dude,
Shout out
don't
ham
fuck
guy.
with hams, bro.
Do not take hams across the Mexican border. So we leave, and like, dude, I'm, little white guy growing up in the burbs my whole life. I'm seeing the fucking world for the first time.
Yeah.
We pull out of there. We're driving. And like, one thing I'll never forget, we got to a spot where we had to make a left. It was dark enough where our headlights were like lighting shit up, and right in front of us was just like 7 to 8 Mexican dudes, 2 burn barrels. They're all holding rifles in one hand and a beer in the other. And I was just like, yo, it is real. It is fucking.
And we're gonna make it left a little quicker
Tarantino out
today.
here. Yeah, like, oh my God. So we get to the show, and it's like everything's cool.
Hell bent on playing this show, dude.
Yeah,
We gotta play the
nothing's stopping
show.
us. Dude, you know
We
how it
gotta
is.
play
I know.
the show.
We're going.
Jesus,
We're
dude.
going. So we get
Oh
there.
my God.
They didn't write Fleep away. We gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go.
They spelled it correct.
So it's like a VFW hall, and it was cool. And so we get there, and the 2 dudes who walked over still aren't there. And we're like, well, that's weird. They left like hours ago. Like, they should be here by now. So we're like, all right, remember, like, don't eat, don't drink. We're like, okay, yeah, we got bottles of water. So we kind of, you do the like tour thing where you just kind of like everybody moseys around and like scope shit out. Mm-hmm. One dude in the other band turns the corner, and he's got 2 6-packs of Sol beer. He's like, bro, dude, like, our money's worth so much here. Both of these, both of these were $3 a piece. That's
hilarious.
12 beers for $6. The gas station's got a bunch of them. You gotta go. We're like, we gotta go. So we go in this gas station. 4 rabid dogs immediately.
Packed out the window. No
Dude.
drinking.
Yeah,
Out the window.
immediately.
Dude.
The second we get there, all that shit gone. Open up the thing, dude. 4 rabid dogs are just in the gas station, like growling at you, and I'm like, where am I? Buy this gas station completely out because we've $20.
Right, yeah.
That's the whole stock.
That's
so we
everything they've got.
We load up. We go back. As I'm walking back, I see half of my band, half another band. A guy pushes up. He's got a food cart. He's got like 4 fingers. The fingers he's missing, I have like black nubs, and he's got like roller dogs wrapped in bacon, and they're just like, you gotta try these. I'm like, all right, drink shit's gone, food shit's gone.
No drinking, gone.
So now we're
Street
drinking
meat,
beers.
in.
Yeah, now and so then everybody's in. So we're like, oh, these look delicious. So we're pounding these things. We're like fucking around with the vendor. Down the street comes the 2 dudes who walked over. Right. The drummer of this band, black eye, shirt's ripped. The other guy he's with, it was his bass player. He's just fucking pissed. We're like, dude, what's good? What happened? They walk over. They go to a strip club. He gets like hammered as he can, starts feeling chicks up. They fucking beat his ass up, throw him out. Jesus. They're walking out, and this dude, the other dude with him was sober, and he's just like, can we go to the show, please? Like, can we, like, you got to have a partner in crime, but like, can we go play the music like we're supposed to? And while they're walking back, the cops stop them, and they just go like, hey, what's up? Yeah. Fuck you, I'm American. I don't have to listen to you, dude.
Oh my God.
Drops him immediately, takes all his money, like beats him up. The other friends just standing there. Yeah, like idiots. But so then we played the show, and show went really well. Everybody's like singing along, which is cool.
That's awesome.
And everything from there on out was pretty nice. But so then we leave, and what's crazy about that border, dude, is I think it's 16 lanes in and out. It's like 32 lanes.
Holy shit.
And people live, like a lot of people live on the way from Mexico back to America. They just take like corrugated steel sheets and like plywood, and they'll build a little hut, and they'll make shit, and they'll sell shit. So we're coming back, and I see the band is in front of us. The singer jumps out, and he starts like running across traffic to like go shopping.
Yeah.
We're like, can we please
Get
out of here? He turns around. He's like, bros. And he's got a shield in one hand and a fucking giant blanket in the other hand. He's just like, yeah. We're like, all right, kid, come on. On his way back, hits another vendor who's trying to sell shit, and all we see is like, two. So then he like blanket, hands him the shit he just bought, raises those up like, yeah, like he's bartering on the way back. We're just like, dude, get in the fucking van.
They're like the Mexican blankets, right?
Yeah. It's like, they're cool, but it's like, dude,
but they're
come
like
on.
super itchy and uncomfortable and like shitty.
It's like, dude, you're buying a sword right now and a shield, like please. And, the other crazy thing, it's pretty sad, but so there's all these billboards there for like this hand disease, I guess, where like people's fingers rot.
So the dude with the hot dogs and bacon?
100%, yeah, easily, and I'm eating it.
And he was no gloves.
Easily.
What happened to your fingers?
It was just that kid shit of like,
You're eating them.
we had a whole plan and everything got thrown out. We were just like crying, laughing, thinking like, we were talking about while it's happening. Like, remember when we said we weren't going to eat? And so, remember the old van windows where you had to like, they had these little black things that you
just like punched out a little bit?
punched out.
Yeah.
So our van had that, and they were punched out. And dude, I will never forget. I'm in the back bench. I got my boy next to me. 2 people are driving. I look over, and I just see like
Nubs.
Yeah, like black nubs. And I'm like, what do I do? And they're like, close the window. And I'm like, dude, we're gonna have like black fingernails in the van, dude.
That's insane.
And like people will like take their kid and like make them juggle for you, like. Again, while you're just waiting to get out of the country, it's just all these people trying to like
the
make
kids
money.
juggling while they're going through your things and
100%,
stealing
all
whatever
that
they
shit.
can.
Dude, at the show, a kid was selling roses, and I talked to the promoter guy. I was like, "Why?" It's just like 6. It's a fucking hardcore show, and he's like, "Hold on a second." Looks around. He's like, "Yeah, see that kid?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Older brother. Hey, you want a rose? Take out your money." He jumps you. They both leave. He's like, then they go home, probably get beat. Parents take the money. Like, dude, it's dark, bro. It's dark as fuck.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But yeah, we finally made it out with a bunch of dope merch and a belly full of
some
rotted
swords and
finger
shit.
grub.
Boy, do I wish you wore it here. He's got the poncho with the blanket.
Did the street mate do anything to you, or did you make it
Dude,
out?
we were on cloud 9. We could not have been happier. It was
You drank enough beer that it fucking killed anything in there. Dude, we have so much money.
Oh my god,
Our money's worth so much here, dude. That's amazing.
And all of us were like, because dude, you know how broke you are on tour.
Yeah.
we were all like,
Yeah, dude.
really? Like, what else do they
You
sell?
don't.
Half
over
the
there?
time you don't even
They got
have
a chocolate
$5
cake
a
in
day.
there.
Yeah.
Like, how fancy can we get, man?
$5 got me 14 beers.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's amazing.
Oh man.
That border, there's a comedian, Julian McCullough, who's got a really funny story about that border because he was in San Diego at the time doing spots and they wanted to just pop over the border for the day, but they kept missing the turn. They went down. He realized he didn't have his passport, so they let him into Mexico because they're like, that's not our problem. Like, you're going to have trouble getting back.
Right.
And then he had absolute trouble getting back and then eventually made it through. But then at some point, I guess, at the Tijuana border, when you're on the American side, there's like a weird turn where if you accidentally turn, you're then entering Mexico again. And he did that like twice. He just kept fucking up that turn and kept, and they were just like, why do you keep coming back?
Well, and we're used to the Canadian border, which is like new and like fortified. And like everything's really clean
It's
and
pretty
organized
quick,
and
too.
labeled, and it's all like stones. Dude, this is the Wild West,
But
bro. This is 32 lanes of traffic.
It's dirt
People live
roads.
there. Like people are living on the
But that's
on
only
the border.
that's only the Buffalo Canadian border. Because out west, it's like there's a lot of like border TV shows on YouTube and stuff, and I'll watch them just because they're really funny.
Right.
And like out in like Seattle and Vancouver, people just accidentally drive across the border all the time, and then they're like, yeah, I didn't know where the border was, and then they're like, I smell a lot of weed in your car, and they're like, yeah, I got 2 jars. Is that a problem? And they're like, yeah, it's a fucking problem.
That's the thing too. Like you said, you went over in Detroit to cut that hour. We've done that as well, and like it was funny though because we had never done that before. Like gone into Canada just to drive through or whatever. We've played Canada. We've gone to Toronto, played there, or whatever. And the one time we were like, all right, we're playing in Toronto, but let's cut through here. It's going to cut so much time off. So we get to the border, and the woman's like, What are you doing? We're from Buffalo. We're just trying to get back to Buffalo. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, dude,
Dude,
sometimes.
we have we weren't pulling a trailer because we took out the back 2 seats. I built a loft. We put all our shit under it, all the merch, everything, and then like one of the guys is laying on the loft, and it like
the
they didn't no
shit.
questions.
Nothing.
But any other time they're like, "Is that a cigarette in your hand? Get out. We need to we're searching everything."
Ikea my ass. I'll show you. Yeah, no, it's a trip down there, man. It's so different. It's so like I'm just used to the one border lifestyle, and man,
I'm a one border guy.
That was a trip, bro. Dude,
Sketchy as shit.
I don't know why it's like triggering all these border memories. My friend used to do shout out Ace. He used to do tech for like RX Bandits.
Okay.
Spill Canvas. Was it like Tegan and Sarah or something? Like a little chick duo. Anyways, I'm working at fucking Best Buy. He calls me. It was Warped Tour, and I obviously did not go. And he's like, it's all crazy. He's like, "Are you coming here?" And I was like, "I don't. Why would I fucking?" It's like 6:00. I'm like, "I'm getting out of work. Why would I fucking come now?" Should have invited me like a week ago. And he's like, "Dude, because it's the day before Canada, bro. Do you know what that means?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "All drugs must go." And like, I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Bring me Mighty Taco. I'll take care of the rest." I was like, "All right, dude." He's from New Jersey. Get Mighty, drive all the way to fucking Darien Lake. I'm there at like 7:30, and I just drive straight up where the buses are. Nobody even looks at me. Like it's because it's over at that point.
Right.
So it's like you could do whatever you want. So I go up. We get on. He was a Spill Canvas. So we go on their bus, and then, I mean, this is gonna sound like some weird flex story. It's really not. It's just me, by
It's just a
coincidence.
story. Yeah.
I'm just in there. So like chilling with my friend. Starting line comes in. They're like, "Dude, like my kids when they want to go to like fucking Chuck E. Cheese. They're just like, we want to smoke weed with All American Rejects. Like, come on." So finally it's like, all right. So we go outside. Claudio from fucking Coheed has a DJ rig and a smoker and a fucking chef's apron on and like his hair all out. And he's just flipping burgers, making dogs.
Oh, you hit the party.
Music's jamming. Well, all the buses back up against each other. And then it's just the center's like where it congregates. So we finally like leave the bus and we're out there and it's, dude, you're just like walk, and somebody will just go like, hit? And you just hit it. Walk, like, because they're going to the border in like 6 fucking hours.
Yeah, so
and
they're
I never
trying to
like,
get rid of it.
Yeah, I never did the math, but I was like, this makes so much fucking sense.
Yeah.
And at one point, the circle, like we started a little circle of like, okay, we got this apple, we got this bowl. Like we're passing it. I remember, I don't know his name, but the singer of All American Rejects was standing next to me. And I had an apple in this hand with like a joint in between my fingers. And he handed me a bowl. And I had like, I'm looking around the circle and it's like I said, like Starting Line, Spill Canvas, Coheed, all these dudes. And I'm holding like 4 different weed things. Like, what am I doing? Right. Like,
This is too much.
yeah, it just kept going too, and like the most random like cast of characters just kept like popping their heads in. It's like Tim Armstrong all of a sudden is looking around like, what is like why?
They're like, "You're into PCP, dude?"
Oh no. Well, that's kind of how it was. Like, is everybody getting rid of their drugs?
Yeah.
Who's everybody? Like, who's on this list? What's in this shit?
What does this mean?
Yeah. But it was a trip, man, because it was like, come to Warped Tour, and then it's just I'm on fucking Planet Zardon with fucking
You're like,
with all these people that it's like I listen to all your music every day, you know.
You're like, it was the greatest moment of my life that I cannot remember.
Come drive to Darien Lake at 6 p.m.
Yeah. Oh man, it was a weird one. Like, yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
when did you start, or what made you want to start like filming for like Quiet Country? Or when did that all come to fruition?
So like pretty honestly, really early on, like I got, played in bands, hated getting fucked over, and hated like caring the most out of everyone. To be honest with you, is how it felt. It was always like I'll give up everything to make this work, and it would be everybody else like had a foot half in, half out, and
Yeah.
so I thought, okay, if I do a studio, it's all on me. I'm like a hyper like self-motivated, self-driven person, just with everything I do. So it's like, if it fails, that's my fault. But if it succeeds, it's also my fault. And I won't have to like wait for approval or wait for like to do something. So I started the studio. And then when I started the studio, I was like, I don't want to, like, how does this work? Like, if somebody wants to record with me, why would they record with me? It's like, I got to do cool shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the fastest path to cool shit? It's like, I could hit up the bands I'm friends with, and like maybe one of them pops off and then something happens. It's like, but I do know a bunch of people that are already like touring people like that.
Yeah.
It's like, so what if I just had them like stop by, film it? Like really the only thing that was going on that time that did that was like Audio Tree, but it was like
Right.
early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was right around the same time, though. Honestly,
Yeah, it
Audio
was,
Tree had
like-
it couldn't have been that long before you started doing it.
No, and I kind of saw them and went like, okay, light bulb. If I do film so if I film something with like Josh Scogan in the 68, rather than it be like record a band and hope people think it's cool and hear it, this is a more like people will definitely hear this.
Right.
People definitely check this out.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, you did that thing. I want to work. You know, like,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like this reverse psychology of like, I'll film stuff of my studio and put that out. And it totally worked, to be honest with you.
Right.
It totally like, I did that. And then all these people hit me up to make records until
Right.
it was like all videos, a little bit of records. And then it eventually like crossed and
Yeah.
went like this. But it was cool because like Andy DeLuca, shout out my fucking dude. He went on to be like one of the biggest rock photographers on the planet to this
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, we've talked about him
Yeah.
on previous podcasts.
So well, check this out. So he, it started actually with me and this guy, Mike Sobieri, who's my good friend. We're eating wings at Barbell. He was a videographer. And I was like, dude, would you do this? Would you be into it? And he played in bands. He was like, yeah, let's try it out. He kind of got burned on it after like a year or two. It was kind of like the wrong scene. He wasn't really into like the, pop punk shit that I normally did. And then Brett Michael would help out a lot. Shout out. And
Brett Michaels
yeah.
from
Sleepaway.
Queen? Or no, not Queen. Sorry.
Yes,
From
Michael
Queen, yes, from Queen, yeah.
Freddie Mercury calls me up. I'm sitting there taking a shit. No.
He says, "Polly boy."
Poison,
Let's
right?
film some bands.
From Rock of Love.
No, do you know Brett Michaels?
Brett Michael.
Yeah, he's from Rock of Love.
Yeah.
Poison.
Oxford Pennant, Brett Michael.
He owns.
To be
Yeah, he's
specific.
one of the owners of Oxford.
It's called making a fucking joke, guys.
Are you a comedian? You should give it a
You should
shot.
try it.
I know.
I
Brett
think I got
Michael.
a chance.
That's what the Queen thing was.
Yeah.
That was totally not a serious statement.
So I get him involved when I'm still doing it with Mike, and then Mike's like, dude, I don't feel like doing this anymore. I'm like, okay. And then Brett was like, yo, I got this friend. I knew his sister, but he's like, do you know Andy? Like her younger brother? I was like, nah, not really. He's like, yeah, he wants to like try it out. Unbeknownst to me, at this point, doesn't own a camera, says he does, never filmed anything, said he did. Dude's got one eye.
Straight up.
Straight up one
Well,
eye.
I mean, he has two eyes, but
He has two eyes, but it's like 8%.
yeah, he got in a.
Yeah.
It was like a car accident or something, and something went in his eye, and it fucked it up. And I'm sure that's the whole totally wrong story.
Short story, but you'll understand. Club Infinity, okay? Back parking lot.
Yeah.
Remember how it was like, it'd be like, you could park here, and
Yeah.
then a grassy knoll, and then you could park
Yeah.
here and a grassy knoll. It was him and
Yeah.
doing donuts.
I'll
And-
bleep that out later.
Yeah. Them doing donuts in the wintertime, and DeLuca had a handheld camera, and he was filming
Yeah.
out the window, thought it was cool. They hit the fucking thing, camera goes straight
Right
into
in his
fucking
eye. Yeah.
Wow.
Fucks his eye.
So actually, if you look at his eye, it has like
Like an impact
like spots
almost.
or
Yeah.
something on it.
So like up until that point, he had two working eyes, and
100%.
then
Yeah.
he just dedicated himself to the camera. He committed to the bit.
And for the rest of his life now.
I'd love to have him on here. I got to get a hold.
He's,
of
That's a lot.
he's the man. Good luck.
My sister's cat has two eyes, but only one works. Okie doke.
All right.
Just making connections.
Yeah,
We're out here.
sure.
Okay.
But yeah. So
The point of that story.
Yeah, DeLuca didn't have a camera.
So yeah, says he does. He shows up, and then we end up just like getting vibing really hard. Brett goes off, does his thing, and then it was really cool because it was kind of this like I'm nobody, he's nobody. We're doing this cool thing that everybody seems to like a lot. Every time, it's a weird thing too because like I did them totally for fun and just like thought they were cool and it was a good chance to like.
Well, then didn't you?
hang out with like your band.
Yeah.
It would just be like I don't know because again I was out of the scene.
Well,
for,
that's
like,
how I
3 or
got to
4
know
years.
you. I didn't know you before that. But didn't you actually end up getting like setting something up with Absolute Punk to like kind
Day one.
of feature you?
Day one. So we did the first
Yeah.
5 we did. In that was Penamento. We released it like June 2nd, 2011, I think. The first one. And then that day, this dude, Zach Zarillo, Property of Zach.
Yeah.
Property Zach, I remember.
I don't know how he got my
Shout out
phone
Zach.
number, calls me. Like I drop it at 10, dude, phone rings at 11. And he's just like, what's up? My name's Zach. I want to buy this. Like,
Yeah.
I want it. And I was like, okay, sure. And he was like vibing with Absolute Punk super hard.
Right.
Me and him kind of didn't really get along because he wanted me to just give him all the content with like nothing in return. And it was like, well, dude, all this shit still costs money. Like, I still bought all this gear, and it's all my time. You gotta give me some. He's like, it'll be promotion. I'm like, for what? Like, I'm giving you the videos.
Yeah.
Like, if it's on my channel and you're growing my channel, sure. But so then I formed a relationship with Absolute Punk, and then they were Absolute Punk exclusives for the first 24 hours. They'd be the top host for like 2 years or 3 years, and that was super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it eventually just grew into this thing where like Andy went with Made Violent, he went on tour, and he got super successful, and I just kept making records, and it just kind of like
We took
out.
him on his first tour, and he told me while he was on tour with, I've talked about this on previous episode, but while he was out with 5 Seconds of Summer, I reached out to him. I was like, dude, because I saw he had Twitter fan clubs for him.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
got
In
Twitter,
States.
Instagram. Oh yeah,
Which is crazy.
dude, his
But
shoes has an Instagram. There's an Andy DeLuca shoes Instagram.
That's crazy.
With more followers. Dude, there's like food he's eaten that people pick out of the garbage. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up.
Well, so he told me, I reached out to him. I was like, dude, I'm so stoked to see everything. And he was like, dude, like, I cannot thank the Traditional enough. He's like, that tour was amazing. We blew our transmission on that tour. But he was like, it was amazing. It was so much fun. It made me really want to do this. He's like, the second tour he did,
Oh yeah.
he said, if I did that first, would have stopped. Like, the
That was
day
bad.
I got back, I would have been done.
That was bad
Never
time.
would have done it again. He's like, you guys made it fun and made me see what it really could be and how enjoyable it could be. I owe it to you guys because I stuck with it, and now look at where I'm at.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
really fucking cool.
Yeah, and it was cool because we just like helped each other. Like I would book these things with like, you know, mid-level indie bands, and then he would like we did a Captain We're Sinking session, and then afterwards it was just like, do you guys need promos? Like, sure, you want to shoot some? And then that next month, the photo we took in like my backyard in Alden was in Alternative Press
Right.
as like their cover spread thing.
Yep.
So like it was just this natural thing of like we just were fucking best friends, and I thought I had fun, he had fun. There was no like world takeover vision. It was just like, this is cool.
Well, let's
Keep it
fuck
going.
around and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just ended up growing into a cool thing.
Yeah.
And then the studio stuff took over, and then I just kind of, like I said, he moved on, and it took a while until I was like into doing it again. Because like I said, we just got to such a good place. And I wasn't like, but like, dude, when he left, it's like, I'm gonna go tour 5 Seconds of Summer. It's like, yeah, bro.
Why wouldn't you?
Like,
oh, you're
see
taking
ya.
private jets?
Enjoy life,
Yeah.
dude. I'm fucking stoked for you. But then it was, and so many people would ask me, like, that was what I was gonna say. It was just, I made it for fun. I put it on the internet. I'd promote it once or twice, and like, honestly, probably didn't watch them ever again, or like would go back.
I've
and watch
gone
them.
back and watched them.
But, dude,
Like recently.
people come up to me and be like, they're so dope, and I'm like,
They are.
that's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
It wasn't ever intentional to be this thing that like lasted longer. Like, you know, it was just like in the moment we did it, and then I would just go do the next one. keep
Yeah,
doing
dude,
the
it's
next
going to
one.
pop off again when Jen Ho gets in there, you know?
But yeah, so then Brett, like long story arc, but then I built a new studio. So those are all at my mom's house. And then I bought a building, built a studio, took forever. John helped me out. Shout out, John. And once we got in there, I had it back. I was like, dude, I really want to do that. Like, I miss doing it. It's super fun. But then I had to find another like Andy. I had to find another kid that was like, dude, these are free. And they kind of take a little while, but if we do a bunch of them, we get really good at it.
Yeah.
And they're super fun, and they help. Like I saw it blossom Andy's career, so there's no reason like you couldn't do the
Right.
same thing. But I knew I was starting over again. Like a lot of the bands, even like I did the Front Bottoms, dude. They're
Yeah, I
fucking
remember that.
massive now.
Yeah.
And then it was just two dudes and this shitty bass player.
Yuck.
Dude, the bass player. Watch the Front Bottoms
I don't
one.
like Franks.
No, me either. There was definitely political moves back then because like Zach would call me and be like, "Will you do this?" And I'd be like, "I guess so." And like I didn't. Like I said, honestly, with 68, it was like I heard he's cool, but like I don't listen to Norma Jean.
Right,
Shit,
yeah.
so- but like people like it.
He's like
So-
mainstream hardcore like
Like
royalty.
royalty.
Yeah,
dude.
you know what
For
I mean?
real.
Like
But he was
you
cool as
hear his
fuck.
name, you put
But now
his
I like
name on
him.
something, and people are like, "Oh, did you hear that new song?" Which like
There was only a few where it was like me, like Captain We're and it's going to be obscure shit that probably people don't know. Like Captain We're Sinking, I loved so much, and they said yes. You Blew It said yes. Hotelier said yes. So there's definitely ones where it was just like, just me fanboying super hard, being
He's
like,
like, "Let's do this
will you
one."
come play a private show for me and I'm going to record it? Like that's basically because like with two kids and shit, my kids were young. It's like I can't go to most of these shows.
Yeah, and
So-
that studio, it was a nice size, but like when it was a nice size for like one instrument at a time. When
Yeah.
you're doing all of it, it like
tight.
took up a lot more room. It wasn't too tight, but it was like, you know,
It was hard to figure out, like, similar to how you guys are, like, you know, getting the rhythm down.
And then you guys move around
To not be in shots,
Yeah,
man. Like, I
yeah.
didn't, like, we'd edit it and it'd be like, it looks goofy when you see me, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, I don't, it looks, like, maybe it's because it's me, but I'm just looking at that then, and I'm, like, forgetting about the music. Like, these are to showcase the bands.
Right.
So, like, we need to be more discreet with all this shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was super fun. And then we did some, I want to do more. It's just time, bro.
Yeah.
Just time.
I feel
busy
that.
as fuck.
I feel that.
But
What back
I'd love to do it again.
Back to some of the touring stuff. What is like your favorite story? Like your favorite memory from touring of everything you've done?
Oh, man.
There's got to be something that stands out when you think like tour. This is what
playing a sold out Chain Reaction.
that's sick.
That was super dope.
That's sick.
Because I'm a Drive Through Records kid
Hell yeah.
through and through. Wish my brother didn't talk me out of that Newfound Glory tattoo when I was younger because it'd be sweet to show off right now in this podcast. But he was like, "Don't fucking do that." But yeah, man, we were on that West Coast tour, and it was all hardcore bands, and we were like Explosions in the Sky. We were like this ambient kind of like space rock band with all these pedals and stuff. And we'd play like real hardcore shows. Like
Right.
we were on this label Revelation that's like Gorilla Biscuits
Okay.
and shit. So like real deal, you know, 2-step hardcore. I'm setting up my pedals, and kids every day would be like, "How many 2-steps do you have?" And I would like go like, "I don't know what that is." Like, I don't even know what that means, my dude. I'm sorry.
You're saying words, and
I'm
not comprehending.
Yeah, I'd be like, you should probably just go outside and smoke a bunch of cigarettes and come back in a half hour because you're not going to like this. But that was a really cool challenge too, dude, to play in front of people. Like when we would play shows where it was like similar bands, cool, it makes sense.
Right.
But dude, when we would do hardcore tours, which for some reason we did all the time, dude, it was so much to prove, and it was so much more rewarding going up there. Like when you're on stage and you're like, all these people did not come because it's like 4 hardcore bands and then us, which is like pretty ambient music. It's like when you go up there and you know that like most people are gonna fucking hate this.
See,
Right.
but that's
But it was so motivational because then afterwards, the people who would come up would be like, "That blew my fucking mind," and it was like, "Bam,
yeah.
Right.
that's what I wanted." Like
But
that's why I'm here.
I like a multi-genre ticket. Like I went to Outbreak Fest in Leeds in 2019, and it was, you know, it's like Split Knuckle, Comeback Kid, fucking Candy, like a bunch of hardcore bands, and then it was Such Gold and Citizen.
Yeah.
And it was, you know,
We
it's-
would get you're a music person, and that's what
Yeah.
it did. It filtered out the music people from like
Yeah.
the like crummy hardcore kids who I didn't care to win
Right.
over anyways. But it would be like because you'd see the faces like while you're playing, you'd see people just being like, "Fucking,
Right.
I hate you." Like,
And it's
I
also
hate this.
it's also just like a change of pace because it's like, you know, it's like if you have a hardcore band,
Right.
it's just relentless beats like
Yeah.
ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, let's change it up a little bit.
And by the end of our set, we'd win a lot of people over. It was cool. I always loved how we started our set. We started our set with just a clean guitar, doing 2 notes, just going. It was just this like drony, hypnotic thing. It's like nobody even knew that we started.
And in
It
the
just-
background, you heard, "We're gonna need a bigger boat."
But no, it'd just be like he would start and then I would start, and it was just this slow ride into it. And the end of that song was just like crashing on shit. But that, as far as like my favorite, that was my favorite moment. But that I also like out of all the bands I was in, that was the best opener track because, like I said, nobody knew that we started when we
Right.
started, and I just love that. It was just like
Yeah,
because you
that's
look
awesome.
around, everybody's still talking, like we wouldn't announce it.
Yeah.
just like you think you're tuning, like you think the dude's
Yeah.
like getting his tone. or
It's almost
something.
like an art piece at that point, you know, because
Yeah.
you're like you're doing something and people have no idea until they like kind of catch on and
And it was
see-
instrumental.
Right.
It was just an instrumental song. So like people didn't even know if it was like, is this all it is?
Yeah.
Is this all it's going to be? And then everything else had vocals. But
Is this Explosions in the Sky?
basically like so? If people understand, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like that more than anything. Like, which if people don't know, it's a weird reference. But yeah, man, that was awesome. And just trying to think of like anything else. But playing Sold Out Chain because like growing up on Drive Through. Newfound Glory started. All those bands would play. All the drive-through DVDs were those bands playing at that club, and it was just I still remember that morning. Like I drove through the night to get there because like I wanted like the show's at 9, and I wanted to
Yeah.
get there at like 9 in the morning. And
Right.
just, like,
You're
stare
so
at the place.
stoked, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't sleep that night. I watched the sunrise like come over the fucking coast. I was driving down the edge. I just was like, I gotta fucking go. That, and I'll never remember or never forget. The,
I'll never remember.
I'll never
Never
remember the
remember.
thing I'm about to say. The first show we ever played out of town, and when we left and we got on the thruway, and I put on the first Limback record as I was like coming up out of Cleveland or in Detroit, where I was like coming up out of the Thruway, and like the sun was hitting, and that fucking record came out.
You could hear that clanging six
I'm doing it.
bottles of Smirnoff in the back.
It's fucking. I love my life.
That's awesome.
What's your favorite opening song ever? Any band? Like you see it live. What's your number one opener?
Whoa, I don't know, man. It's a heavy ass question. I gotta think about that. I listen to a lot of music.
But there's got to be one moment
Dude,
you're
I'll-
at a concert and you're
I'll-
like, "This is it. This is number one."
I'll go back to what we were talking about before we started. When E-Tid would start with "I want to be dead with life," dude,
That's
there
true.
was like that one was just like
You could feel
they'd come out and you'd be like, I'm gonna kill someone. Like,
Yeah,
I'm coming out of Mosh retirement. Like,
Dude, I'm an E-Tid simp. Like I will it's bad. I love that band. And when we did a documentary, the guy who started QCA with me came to me and was like, "Do you want Mohawk Place was closing?" He's like, "Do you want to do a documentary on it?" I was like, "Dude, let's go."
Hell yeah.
Signed up for it. It ended up being like a year process, but what we did was we filmed the last 3 months of shows, and in that was the E-Tid Christmas shows.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
my position, which I was like, I'm doing this, stood on stage behind the guitar cabs. So I totally got to live a fantasy of like pretty much being an E-Tid, because I'd film like 3 songs and then
Right.
my camera fucking dies or something. I just watch the show from behind.
Just
the row of
holding it
cabs.
still.
Yeah. But I got the perspective of like to be them and see what they see.
Right.
And you, dude.
and that
it's
was
ballistic.
and that was the year that they
People
broke
go-
the stage, right?
Yeah, they
and
broke
it
through
was
the
too
stage,
soon, so
and
they had to go back
repair
and
it.
repair it because there was one more week of shows.
Yeah. People collapsed through the stage.
Yeah, it's because
And
they
had-
brought everybody on stage.
Yeah. But like to be from the perspective of what they see, like Mitch K, bass player, long hair, all sweaty, and I saw him like headbanging right against the front row, and this kid opens his mouth and sticks his tongue out. And all the hairs in his mouth and all the sweat. And I was
So
just,
gross.
But
Oh
I'm just
my
like,
gosh.
I was like, I feel you,
me.
man.
I
I'm
get
jealous.
you. I get you.
I would be down there if I was you, bro. I get it.
So gross.
But it was that filming that whole thing was a real like that was I'll never forget that, man, because it was so many bands and so many genres.
Yeah.
It was all these like bands in their 60s, and then like what was it? Such Gold, Traditional was in the mix. Pedimento,
yeah,
E-Tid.
actually, that might actually be that poster might be right over there.
yeah.
Oh,
It
the
was-
Pedimento show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we filmed it. We filmed. I would get to Mohawk at like 4. We'd set up all these mics and all these cameras. And I said yes, and then I looked at the schedule, and it was just real. Like that last bit was real. It was every day.
Yeah.
like every
Oh, yeah,
day.
'cause everybody
And
was
I had
trying
2
to get
kids.
their
I had a
farewells
1-year-old
in.
and a 3-year-old or
Yeah.
4-year-old, and it was like,
Yeah.
my wife, champ, lets me do all this cool shit.
Everybody was trying to get their goodbye.
Oh, dude,
You know, their final their chef's kiss.
the very last
know.
night got so crazy.
Dude, when everybody went into the streets and everything.
Everybody
like,
went in the streets.
Crazy.
I had to run. I was dying. I ran to the parking garage, but there's no steps. There's no
Yeah, so you had
stairs.
to get up,
I had to
right?
literally.
Yeah.
I literally. The thing was like, we're gonna take a picture outside. And when they said that, I looked at my dude. I'm like, I'm gonna go up and try to get like an aerial, and it's in the documentary. And I was so fucking gassed when I
Yeah.
got to the top of that. But like filmed everybody, and then we went back in, and oh man, it just went on for like hours
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
And Neil started crying. Everybody's crying. I'm like, yo, I've been here for 3 months. I'm getting the fuck out. Like I
I
wanted
said goodbye.
yeah, I wanted to Molotov cocktail that place when I walked out the door. I was like, I never want to come back here. But
and now it's back.
And then it opened up 2 years later.
funniest part of all this, we spend 3 months filming. We spend 6 months after that doing interviews with bartenders and like Pete and his family and
Right.
all this shit. We're editing it.
And they announced it was coming back.
No, we were editing it, and the dude who owns the place next door, Electric Avenue,
Yeah.
sends me an email and is like, yo, dude, got wind you're doing this Mohawk documentary. I just bought it, and I want to get that place back up immediately. Like, would you want to? And dude, the whole arc of the movie was we did it like a funeral where there's the stages of grief and all that shit. And the whole thing was it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to literally call him on the phone and be like, if you ruined the last year of my life, like you cannot do this.
The documentary was great too. You guys,
Thanks,
you
man.
did it at Ballroom, right?
Sold out Tom Ballroom.
Yeah.
That was
just-
crazy.
There's
man.
an alternate ending with just Pete in a fucking coffin just sitting back up. We're back.
Yeah, but so and that was funny too. There was another like a lot of the shit, dude. I don't know. I sign up for shit not knowing if it's gonna work or not, and I just go for it. And that night that we
Bro,
did
that's what tour is.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
sign
I
up for
love it.
shit that you don't know is going to work out or not. Yeah,
no clue. Dude, first full tour. The first show we went to was in Massachusetts. That's where we started the tour, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
Let's drive 13 hours for the first show. We get there. Venue's gone, burned to rubble. Fucking promoter calls us, and he's like, yeah, sorry. But
Yeah, sorry about that.
oh, and this is a good tour story. Back in the day, it was us and Sleepaway, and what we used to do was PayPal had a credit card, okay? But it was fucking forever ago. So it used to take a while for the transactions to hit, and you could get the credit card, and it would eventually come out of your PayPal account.
Right.
When there was no money in there, they just make it negative. We did 2 weeks of touring, and our whole strategy was everybody sign up before we leave, and then just cycle through PayPal cards.
Right.
Because we'll just rack up thousands of dollars on them, and we'll never pay it because.
That's
Well,
PayPal.
it'll always go through, and it'll never say we have no
Right.
money because it takes too long for the transactions to process. So we did it. We did this like free gas scam the whole time.
That's
and then
one way to do it.
And then somebody got stuck with the bill at the end. I don't remember who it was, but yeah. But yeah, so we did the premiere at Town Ballroom, and which was really cool because a lot of this, like, I got into that, and like my scene, and your scene there was like the E-Tit and the Chris Ring.
Yeah.
But dude, there's 20 years before that.
Oh yeah,
of all these
Man,
generations.
We had no idea about.
No idea. So
Yeah.
it was awesome to like learn all this shit. And I was just like total fanboy by the end of all these people and all these bands that I didn't know of. And when we did the ballroom thing, all of them are like showing up.
Right.
And dude, it's wild. Like, just in a total respect way of like, I hope you like it, man. Like I hope it does justice to whatever your memories of that place
Right.
are and whatever it holds in your heart near and dear to you. Because I don't know, but I tried like my
And
best.
also, you're like, I'm not a filmmaker.
The first time ever.
So
So,
I'm not
like,
I've
you know.
never done this before.
No.
but-
I
And-
can hold a camera.
Yeah, and we left. Me and the guy who made it, we were like, let's go get food somewhere else. Like right when the doors open. Doors open, we're like, let's get out of here and we'll come back when it starts.
Yeah.
So we came back when it started, and it was hollow. It was like the bar area inside was empty.
Yeah.
And when I opened the doors to like go into the venue, it was
Packed.
sold out. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is
and
a
we
fucking
had so
trip,
I
dude.
worked there at the time, and we had
Yeah.
set up chairs throughout
Yeah.
the whole floor. So it was just like there was no, and they're out every tier too.
Yeah.
There was no room for anything.
And yeah,
Yeah.
to like see all the people that I filmed watching it, because I was like watching the people and like they're laughing and
Yeah.
crying. It was cool. It was awesome, man. It was really cool. It was a proud moment for me.
That's
It
great.
was awesome.
Love that.
Yeah, total like wing it. Sure, you want to
Yeah,
make a documentary?
yeah.
Why not? Fuck it.
Hell yeah.
What else am I doing?
Yeah. What else am I doing? Wild.
Well,
That's about it.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you being
Absolutely,
on the
man.
podcast.
Thank
we
you,
Do you have anything you want to plug? Any social medias?
I mean, QC audio, baby. Instagram. It's really all I use because I like looking at pictures. I hate saying shit, so I don't really type much.
I'm a simple man.
Yeah, I hate social media. I wish I could eradicate it all. It's the biggest. I just want to do the fun shit. I hate the like promo,
right.
all that.
That's all I
nonsense.
use Instagram for is this now, and I'm like,
It's just not my thing, man. I've tried to force it down my own throat for years and like
Yeah.
get better at it. And
Yeah.
it's such a soul suck.
Right.
It takes all the like creativeness and fun out of it, but you got to do it. But
For
yeah,
sure.
QC
especially
audio
when you're
YouTube.
running a business.
It's the worst.
When your income is tied to it.
You're running a business that's literally all word of mouth.
100%. Absolutely.
Oh man.
Is it on YouTube too?
Yeah, dude. The YouTube channel is popping off. Not really. Yeah, YouTube, Quiet Country Audio, Instagram, QC Audio. There is a Twitter, and it's just because there's a button on Instagram that you can post to Twitter.
Yep.
I've never used Twitter other than that.
That's all you need.
So yeah, hit me up, man. QCaudio.com.
QCaudio.com.
Let's make some fucking records.
Let's do it. Very good. All right, John.
Storytime Pod across all platforms. Like and subscribe. Make sure you guys go out and like all of his stuff. Follow everything. Go back and watch all these videos that we were talking about that he did back in the day when he was at his old studio.
And the new ones.
Yeah, and the new ones as well.
Don't watch the new ones. Just the old ones.
No, check out
Those
the
are the
new ones and
monetized ones.
comment below what you think of the lighting. I put the lights up there, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
This is great. This is this. We're gonna have you on again because I know you have more.
I didn't even get to my list. I
I know.
list, and I kept opening my phone. I didn't even get to it.
I know.
That was just riffing. So
Yeah.
Nice.
We definitely have to have you on again. This
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
that'd be
so.
awesome.
For
Thank
sure.
you.
At Max Kids are everywhere. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
Peace.